Welcome! In this series of short videos, we will look at topics for the PowerBasic Windows Compiler. Today we will look again at using the Windows Form Designer to add menus on our form. This was our application at the end of the last video. We have created a dialog with a number of controls on it. Some of the controls are dynamic, so if we select the HR department, the working pattern control disappears. If we select another department, it will reappear. One thing you'll note when designing forms is it's a good idea not to have a form that is too crowded. One of the ways to avoid crowded forms is to use menus on the dialog, and that's what we're going to be adding today. We're going to go into the Forms Designer and add a menu control. So if we exit the application now and go into the Forms Designer, PowerBasic Forms, it will load up our current form. This application at the moment only has a single form, and here it is on the screen. For the Menu Designer, you're not going to be using one of the controls over here. We're going to be going to the toolbar, and on the toolbar there is a menu editor. If we click on Menu Editor, we'll get another dialog popping up. So what we're going to do here is create our menu using this control. So first of all, I'm going to add a file menu as a pop-up. So we'll put the word file in. And we will go on next. So we now have file, and you'll see the indenting here, it's already indented. So we're going to, on our file menu, have an exit option. So there's our exit option. If we click on ID value, it will name it for you and give it a value. So we have file and exit. So if we close that down, you'll see on our dialog, we now have a file menu with an exit option. So if we save that and go back to our code, we can see what that's put in as lines of code to our application. So if we go to the beginning of the application, we'll see there's now a new constant for file exit. So what else has it added to the application? If we hit the F2, we'll see there is now a new function at the top of our function list called attach menu 1. If we go to that, we'll see here is the code that builds our menu on our dialog. It takes the dialog handle in as a parameter, and it's building the menu by using a series of menu commands, menu new bar to H menu. You're creating a new menu and you're assigning a handle to this variable H menu, which is a local variable. So after the menu new bar, we're using menu new pop-up. This declares this as a pop-up menu. And the entry, which we have here, has a number of parameters. The first is the menu handle. Next is the text you wish to display to the user on that menu. And then the handle for pop-up. And the next is a control constant to, in this case, enable the menu. You can, of course, on menus have some enabled and some disabled. And this can happen quite dynamically during the run of your application, depending on how you have coded it. So to this pop-up, we are using the menu add string command. This adds the exit option to this pop-up, and there is the constant. This constant is going to be used for our event handling, for when the user actually clicks on this exit option. And at the moment, this option is enabled. And our final command in this section is to attach the menu to our dialog using the dialog handle. So if we do a search to see where this function is actually called in our application, we will see it's called at the very end of our dialog description. In the function which defines our dialog, where we have the dialog new command, the last line of code after all of these controls have been defined is a call to that function attach menu, passing a single parameter, which is the dialog handle. So let's run the application now and see if our menu appears. There is our dialog, and we now have a menu bar at the top of the application with our File Exit menu. At the moment, there is no code sitting behind Exit, so if we click on it, the menu just goes away. What we want to do in the File Exit is to duplicate the code we have in the Exit button down here. We want to exit the application. So we will copy the constant at the beginning of our application, which is going to be for our file exit. And if we go to the callback function, the event handler, and we look down our list of code, we will find here is the instruction that handles the exit button being clicked. So at the moment, this case statement is only handling ID abort. So we just add our file exit onto this. This section of code here should be triggered both when the user clicks on the exit button or they click on the menu exit. So let's run the application now and test to see if that works. So we have the exit button at the bottom of the dialog. We click on that, the application ends. And if we run the application once more and click on the File Exit menu, and the application also ends. So we've added a bit of extra functionality to our application on a menu without adding too much code, and the code itself being written by the forms designer. The other way of ending an application, which the user can do, is they can click on the X at the top right-hand corner of the dialog. As there is only one form in this application, clicking on this will close not only the form but the application. However, you may want to get the user to confirm that they actually do wish to exit your application before you close it down. So how can we do that? How can we get our application to confirm with the user that they do wish to exit? In order to do this, we need to add another event in our event handler to handle system commands. So we'll do this above the WM command section. And here is the code we wish to add. Our new event is WM sys command. And we're making this test for wparam to see if it is equal to the constant sc close. If that's the case, then the user has attempted to close the dialog down. And therefore we can quite easily make a call to a message box command to confirm that the user is really sure that they wish to exit the application. We can use the message box as a function, asking the user, are you sure you wish to exit? We'll give it a yes/no parameter, which means the message box will have two buttons, one saying yes and one saying no. The title of our message box is exit application, and if the value returned by this function is yes, then the user has clicked the yes button. If that is the case, then we'll make the return of this function 0, and we will call the dialog end command, passing it the parameter which is the dialog handle. If the user clicks the no button, then we'll return function equals 1. If we run our application now, and we click on the X at the top right hand corner, we will see we get the pop-up message box. If we say no, we do not wish to exit, then the application remains running and our dialog remains on screen. If we click it once more and click the yes, the dialog ends. However, if we click the exit button or the file exit menu, we do not get that dialog, so we need to put an extra bit of code in. If we go down to our event where we're triggering on the abort or the file exit, and where we have a simple dialog end in here, we need to add in this logic or the message box. Exactly the same code as we had a moment ago. So if we run the application now, and we attempt to use the menu, we'll get the dialog. If we hit the exit button, we will get exactly the same piece of code, and we will only exit if we click yes. So if we run the application, and we go down to the bottom of our taskbar, right-click and attempt to close the window. It will also pop up the confirmation, are you sure you wish to exit? This way we are absolutely certain that the user wishes to exit the application. So now that we've added that functionality to our application, can we do a little more with our menus? So let's go back to the Forms Designer. And if we go back into the menu editor, we'll see there is our menu. We have a pop-up for the file, and for the exit, we have that as a menu item. Now we want to go into Next, and if we will do an outdent to go back here, and we're now going to put in an edit menu. And this is going to be a pop-up. And we will do a Next once more. Next, I'm going to add on this edit menu another option called Toggle Test. This will initially be checked. It will have a tick beside it. And when the user clicks on this, it will untick. So it will be a toggle. And we'll see it's named it as Edit Toggle Test. And we will click the state to see it's MF checked. And once we've done that, we will close that. We will save that. And once that saves, we will have a look at our menu. So there's Edit and there's Toggle Test. And at the moment, it is currently ticked. So we'll need to put a bit of code in to handle when the user clicks on that menu item, just as we did with the file exit. So we go back to our code, and we want to go back into our event handler, our callback function. So if we go down to the WM command section once more. So we're going to add a new option in here, a new event. And this is to handle this toggle test. This is the constant that PowerBasic has created to handle this event. So just like any other button, we need to test to see if the user has clicked it or not. So we will again test for BN clicked. This will allow us to determine that the button has indeed been clicked by the user. We know that when the application runs, this particular menu item is currently ticked. But in this part of the code, we won't know whether it's currently ticked or not ticked. So the first thing we need to do is to get the state of that menu. But before we do that, we'll need to make our menu handle global. So let's go back to the beginning of our application where our globals are set up. And we will create a new global menu handle. And we're going to take this variable and we're going to go into our attach menu1 function. And down here outside the PB forms code, we're going to populate it. So when the menu is created, we'll store the value in our global variable. So back to the callback function. So we need to get the state of this particular menu item. And to do that, we're going to use the menu getState command. This takes a number of parameters. We're passing it, first of all, the menu handle, the global one we just populated. And we're passing it the constant value which defines the object on our menu, in this case toggle test. And we're taking whatever is stored on that and we're passing it to a new variable called menu state. So we will create that variable at the beginning of our function. So there's our new variable now declared. So now that we have the menu state of this menu option, we can now test its value. If it is equal to MFS checked, then the menu is currently checked. So we'll want to uncheck it. And we can do that using the menu set state command. This again takes a number of parameters: the menu handle, the handle of the object on the menu, in this case toggle test, and the value we wish to set on it, in this case unchecked. So if the menu state is not checked, it must be unchecked. Therefore we can again use the menu set state command in our else condition to set it to checked, like so. So if we try running our application now, our dialog appears on the screen, and there are our menus at the very top. If we click on Edit, we'll see that it is currently ticked. If we click on the toggle test option and look again, we'll see it's now unticked. So if we click it once more, it will go back to being ticked. So this allows you to use the menus as a mechanism by which user can set preferences. And you can use the menu get state command at any point during your application to pick up those values directly from the menu itself. So in summary, what we've done today is we've added the option of user confirmation when the application is about to exit. Additionally, we've added a menu to the top of our dialog, allowing the user to either exit or toggle a value on the menu. Hopefully, you'll find this code useful in your applications, but that's it for today. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching today's video. Please feel free to click on the link in the description below to discover more videos.